Who could have imagined this is where Willow would wind up? Muses General Hospital's Caitlin McMullen? During our recent chat, the actress, who celebrates her 8th anniversary with the show on Saturday, October 18th, summed things up beautifully with 4 simple words. She's been through it. Viewers will recall that when first they met Willow, she was a kindly schoolteacher whose dark and twisted past would only slowly be revealed. I totally remember my first day, she smiles. I got to work with Becky, Herbst, Liz, and Roger Howarth, ex-Franco. And I was so nervous. But at the end of the day, I thought, great, I survived. Ever since, McMullen and Willow have been on a journey together. Personally, I've learned so much about my process and even why I'm drawn to this work in the first place. As for Willow, she trails off for a moment before admitting with a sigh. She's definitely a little lost these days. This makes sense, she elaborates, given that art reflects life. Willow started in one place and has now gone in completely the opposite direction, McMullen reflects. And in life, you do the same thing. You have ups and downs, and along the way, you figure things out about yourself. Where Willow's concerned, she still has a lot to learn. I don't think she's truly figured out who she is, or maybe even how she fits into this crazy life she's living. Crazy is something of an understatement, given that Willow has found herself caught in a vicious battle between Michael and Drew, 2 of the most powerful men in Port Charles. One of her biggest challenges is knowing who to trust. Every time she thinks she's putting her faith into someone worthy, they disappoint her. Michael, Drew, Nina. It's a pretty long list. Of course, Willow is currently facing the fight of her life with everything, including her freedom, on the line. If ever she needed a hero, or to become her own heroine, it is now. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. We had been waiting for this General Hospital moment since February, when Jack Brennan came up with the crazy idea to recruit college co-ed Jocelyn Jacks into the WSB. All we could think was, uh-oh, wait till Carly finds out. Well, this week, Carly found out. And Laura Wright did what we expected her to do, giving a performance so powerful and engrossing that she earned this week's Soap Central Performer of the Week honors. After worrying that Anna was going to arrest her, Carly got a good chuckle out of watching mortal enemy Nina get arrested instead. However, Diane had to warn Carly that she was not out of the woods, especially when she sheepishly confessed to threatening to kill Drew and being alone in Elizabeth's house, which would have given her time to plant the gun Anna found. Wright portrayed Carly's amusement and fear to perfection, but we knew by the end of the week that Carly was going to get the shock of her life. Wright's early week performance was clearly just a warm-up for the main act. On Thursday, when Jason finally said the words, "Jocelyn is in the WSB," Wright's facial expressions said it all. Carly barely needed to speak because we knew what she was thinking. From confusion and disbelief to fear and outrage, Wright was on fire. Carly was every mother as she tried to make sense of what she had just been told. Her daughter was a college student, not a super spy. Why would Jason say such things? Carly's journey from bewildered mom to furious lover had us enthralled. But Wright wasn't done. Then came Carly's moment with Jocelyn. Both Wright and Carly chose to play it calmly and inquisitively, but also lovingly. Carly questioned Jocelyn about her life choices without ever bringing up the WSB. At that point, she was every mother, worried about her child, while trying to respect them at the same time. We can't wait to see what Wright does next week when she has her moment with Jack. Conversations did not go according to plan in the Friday, October 17th episode of General Hospital. Anna tried to persuade Jack to let her help protect Port Charles. Carly tried to get Jocelyn to tell her the truth. Nathan and Marco pushed Nina to save herself. Willow wondered how far Drew would go to help her, and Chase and Dante butted heads. But that's not all. Anna stopped by the WSB to tell Jack she knew he took Charlotte and Lulu to see Valentine in Switzerland, so the prisoner would pay him back with information about Faison, and demanded to know what he found out. Jack reminded her it was classified, but she feared that Port Charles was in danger, and they needed to work together. He wondered why she thought it had anything to do with Faison, and she pointed out that 2 of his children had just returned from the dead, and Valentine used to work for one of Faison's organizations. Jack claimed he and Valentine just had unfinished business to discuss and didn't need her help. As Anna continued to insist that he let her in, Jack reminded her that Faison was dead. "I know," she replied. "I saw them put his brain in a jar. That was the best day of my life." He worried about her obsession with the villain, and she told him to go to hell. "I've already been there," he snarked. "Same as you." Anna insisted she knew Faison better than anyone, and she wanted to help him because he was in over his head. She then warned that Jack's overconfidence would get people killed before stalking out of his office. After getting Donna off to school, Jocelyn remarked to Carly how big her little sister had gotten and wondered if she'd been gone that long. Carly noted that between school, work, and travel, she's been keeping herself very busy ever since Dex died. Jocelyn flashed back to shooting Cyrus in revenge and admitted she was lost after Dex died and didn't know how to move on. Hoping to prompt her daughter to tell her the truth, Carly noted she eventually got her life back on track, and Jocelyn called running away to Easter Island the best decision she ever made. Carly questioned how the trip was life-changing, and Jocelyn spun a yarn about exploring a new place and learning new things. "I just felt so helpless after Dex passed," she explained. "And the trip, it gave me a new sense of purpose. It gave me a new direction. So, I don't know, I guess I got what I needed out of those giant stone heads." Carly chuckled with her, but half-heartedly. Carly expressed her concern that since Joss had come home, she felt a distance between them. Jocelyn assured her that no matter how busy she was, nothing had changed between them. Tears stinging her eyes, Carly insisted that they didn't talk the way they used to. "But if there's something going on, if it's grief, or just life, I'm here," she assured her daughter. "And you can tell me anything, no matter what." Jocelyn started tearing up and looking guilty, but promised that if there was something she needed to tell her, she would, and they would work through it. She claimed she was just focused on graduating and starting her life as an adult. She insisted they were fine, but as Carly embraced her daughter, she clearly didn't agree. When Carly worried that her daughter felt neglected since she was so wrapped up in Michael and the grandkids, Joss assured her she understood that, so she wondered if the distance was because she didn't approve of her seeing Jack. Jocelyn admitted she wasn't a big fan of Brennan, but wanted her mother to be happy. She admitted that after Dex died, she wanted to isolate herself, but after her trip, she realized that the best way to honor his sacrifice was to do something that would make a difference. She claimed she would make the world better through her major in environmental science, and Carly smiled tightly, knowing it was a lie. Later, alone in the kitchen, Carly flashed back to Jason, telling her Jack recruited Jocelyn to the WSB until she was interrupted by Brennan entering the kitchen. "Did you miss me?" he asked with a grin as her face remained inscrutable. Britt approached Bobby's and frowned to see Jason sitting outside. He explained he'd wanted to get his stuff out of his room, but she earlier made him hand over the key. She started to give him the key, but after flashing back to her box of medicine in the room, she decided to go with him. As Jason was exiting the diner, Britt ran after him to ask him to co-sign a loan for a car she needed to buy. He was surprised to see she was trying to buy a Mercedes, so Britt explained how that's what she drove at the Five Poppies until the incident with the donkey. When Jocelyn walked by, Jason asked if she'd talked to her mother, and she said they had a nice conversation. Britt casually snarked about Jocelyn lying to Carly's face, and Jocelyn snapped, "If you even think about telling my mom that I'm in the WSB, I will burn your life down, because I can do it." At Bobby's, Nathan asked Dante to tell him everything he could about the charges against his sister. The detective reminded him he couldn't discuss the investigation, but since Nina is his sister, Dante let him know that the cops found out that she gave a false alibi for herself and Willow the night of Drew's shooting. Nathan believed that Nina was just trying to protect her daughter, and Dante wondered how far she might go. Nathan admitted it felt strange being out of the loop with the PCPD and his family, and asked Dante his personal opinion on the case. Dante admitted he didn't know whether or not Willow was guilty of shooting Drew. With Marco at her side, Nina sat in the ADA's office as Justine said she could either be arraigned for accessory to attempted murder or work with the DA's office as they prosecuted Willow. When Marco declared he was going to move to have the charges dropped for lack of evidence, Justine countered that they could still get her for obstruction and providing false information, which Marco noted were misdemeanors. Justine brought up the security footage, proving she lied about her and Willow's alibi, and Nina insisted that the footage was faked and she was with her daughter. Justine declared that the footage was real and said that if she agreed to work with them, they'd drop the charges to making a false statement. After she left Nina and Marco to discuss it, Nina made it clear she didn't want to sell out her daughter, but Marco urged her to take the deal. Nathan arrived, and Nina introduced him to Marco before explaining the DA's deal, and Nathan agreed with her attorney that she should tell the truth. Nina regretted giving the alibi, but wanted to protect her daughter, so she couldn't recant her statement now. Marco warned that this wasn't a good idea for either her or Willow, and Nathan tried to back him up, arguing that if Willow shot Drew in a crime of passion, her attorney could build a defense. Marco chimed in to suggest Nina could testify on Willow's behalf that Drew pushed her over the edge. Nathan also warned that if this went to trial, their conspiracy to commit murder would look premeditated. Nina didn't want to leave her daughter without an alibi, but Marco argued it had already been disproven, and maintaining it only made Willow look worse. When Justine returned, she asked if Nina had made a decision. Willow insisted that Martin needed to prove that she'd been framed by Drew's real shooter, Michael, but he countered that right now, they had to focus on the arraignment and getting her out on bail. Drew barged into the police station, demanding to see Willow, and Chase quickly intercepted him, warning that, as the victim of the crime, he had to stay away from the accused. Drew insisted he wasn't her victim and pushed past him to see Willow, who rushed into his arms as he assured her he knew she didn't shoot him. Martin asked Willow if she was still standing by the alibi Nina gave her, and she admitted she didn't have an alibi, so when Nina came up with the story, she just went along with it, thinking Nina needed protection. Willow wondered if she should tell that to the judge, and Martin chuckled and said that was something to discuss with her defense attorney. Willow thought that was him, but he explained that he could help her through the arrangement, but since he represents the victim, it was a conflict of interest. When Martin suggested they needed a good criminal defense lawyer, Drew angrily told Martin they didn't need him and he could get out. Martin reminded the congressman that they did need him and he'd see them at the arraignment. Alone, Willow told Drew he was right about Michael and they had to get the kids away from him. Drew said they would, just as soon as they proved her innocence. "Drew, you said you would be willing to tell the police that you remember Michael being the one who shot you," she offered. "Would you really do that? For me and my kids?" Dante returned to the station, where Chase angrily updated him that Willow was going to be arraigned for a crime that she didn't commit because Michael framed her for attempted murder. Dante reminded Chase there was no evidence proving that, but Chase argued that Michael had opportunity and motive to plant the gun in Willow's room. Dante admitted it tracked, but warned Chase he didn't sound impartial. Chase asked Dante who he honestly thought was more capable of committing this crime, arguing that Michael had a criminal history that included murder. He then complained that Dante was the one being biased by not considering Michael a viable suspect. Brooke Lynn was nervous about preparing this tea party for Ronnie, hoping to get her to like the house and the people in it, so she wouldn't sell it out from under all of them. Michael admitted he hoped Ronnie decided to keep the house so his kids wouldn't lose their home as well as their mother. Brooke Lynn noted that Wiley and Amelia were hit hard by seeing Willow arrested and wondered what Anna and Dante had been thinking. Michael admitted that everything worked out perfectly because now Willow could never see the kids again without supervision. Michael explained how he set up the supervised therapy session because if it went well, Willow would have to continue supervised visits, and if she refused, he could tell the court she declined to see her kids. Brooke Lynn suggested that the therapy sessions might have helped Willow, but Michael didn't care about that, and now it didn't matter because Willow had been arrested and was out of the way. Brooke Lynn tried to insist that Willow could still be a good mother, but Michael just wanted to stop her from doing more harm. So hopefully, by the time the custody hearing comes around and talks of visitation are being thrown around, Willow will be serving a life sentence for trying to kill Drew, he said coldly. And she'll be out of the kids' lives completely. After Brooklyn went to host her tea party, Dante entered the kitchen and put his badge on the table in front of Michael. "I am here as your brother, not as a cop," he announced. Convince me that you did not frame your ex-wife for attempted murder. Will Carly push Jack to come clean or tell him she knows all about Jocelyn? Will Nina take the deal and turn on Willow? How far will Drew go to make sure Michael goes to prison for attempted murder? And is Faison out there plotting something? Share your GH theories and opinions in the comments below. General Hospital spoilers hint that Britt Westbourne may catch Carly Spencer and Jason Morgan's intimate moment. Britt might have a surprising realization as a result, so let's talk about her tricky situation. Although Britt clearly has feelings for Jason, she also knows Carly and those closest to her are always going to come first. Even so, Jason and Britt have had some moments of reconnection following their return to Port Charles. Deep down, Britt may be starting to consider the possibility of a romantic future with Jason again. There's a spark between Jason and Britt that neither one of them can deny. But Carly's still going to be a problem. Carly was hurt when she found Jason hid the truth from her about Jocelyn Jax's DUSB job, but at least he finally did the right thing and came clean. Unlike Jack Brennan, Jason loved Carly enough to be honest with her about the danger her beloved daughter's in. That's why it'll be easy for Carly to forgive Jason, especially since she needs him more than ever right now. During the week of October 20th to 24th, Jason will show off his supportive side and really step up for someone. There's a good chance it'll be Carly since support is definitely something she could use more of. Will Britt come along and witness a close moment? We could certainly imagine Britt spotting Carly in Jason's arms and fuming over their continued connection. That could also lead to Britt realizing Jason must have told Carly the truth about Jocelyn being in the WSB. Based on how intense things seem between them, Britt may figure out Jason spilled the beans to Carly and wonder what'll happen next. GH fans will recall that Brennan threatened to have Britt thrown in Steinmauer if Jason blabbed Jocelyn's WSB secret. Jason just made a choice that could spell trouble for Britt, so she should be furious when she finds out the gamble he took with her freedom. General Hospital spoilers say Jason and Britt have more romantic setbacks ahead of them, so stick with us for updates on any bad news that could derail their future. Sharon Case, Sharon Newman, The Young and the Restless, Eileen Davidson, Ashley Abbott, The Young and the Restless, Melissa Clare, Egan, Chelsea Lawson, The Young and the Restless, Nancy Lee Grahn, Alexis Davis, General Hospital, Michelle Stafford, Phyllis Summers, The Young and the Restless, Laura Wright, Carly Spencer. General Hospital. Nancy Lee Grahn blew us away in 2024, when her longtime character, Alexis Davis, lost her firstborn daughter, Sam. Grahn submitted the unbelievable scenes when Alexis held Sam's lifeless body in her arms and told her about the day she was born and how her heart broke having to give her up for adoption. Sam and Alexis were reunited as adults, so losing her again was heartbreaking. In her acceptance speech, Grahn thanked General Hospital for giving her the life she wanted. At 39 years old, she wanted to become a mother, and GH gave her the perfect job to do that. She was able to support her daughter and be there for all her milestones while she was growing up. Grahn is also known for being outspoken and used her acceptance speech to talk about the world we live in. With this job comes a literal soapbox. "My parents would be disappointed in me if I didn't use it," she said. "Our democracy is worth fighting for. The people in it are worth caring about them. Whether you have a platform or not, now is the time to speak up for human decency, for democracy, and stand up." That's when Grahn asked everybody in the audience to stand up for democracy as she rose to her feet. General Hospital spoilers for Monday, October 20th, reveal that Willow Tate and Nina Reeves's arraignment will come with a curveball while Dante Falconeri tells Michael Corinthos to turn himself in. First on Monday's GH episode, Brooke Lynn Quartermain will throw the tea party that she promised Veronica Ronnie Bard. So Stella Henry will hint to Tracy Quartermain about some trouble. Ronnie will predict that things are going to get fun now as she chats with Brooklyn and Olivia Quartermain, but a major confrontation with Tracy is about to break out and ruin this gathering. As for Nathan West, he'll question Nina about whether she's going to take the plea deal that she's been offered. Nina is having a hard time with this, but she may accept that it's the only path forward in the end. However, Willow and Nina's arraignment is about to get wild. Things will take a stunning turn in court, so Drew Kane will find himself wondering how the hell something like this could happen. Over with Dante, he'll contend that Michael has to come forward and turn himself in if he's guilty of framing Willow. Michael will make a daring declaration on Monday's show, so he may insist he has nothing to confess to the cops and argue that he'll always do whatever it takes for his kids. By the end of this conversation, Dante may have even more concerns about the possibility that Drew set Willow up and perhaps even shot Drew. Meanwhile, Jordan Ashford will work to solve a puzzle, so we'll see if this involves Portia Robinson's pregnancy, Gen Z Sidwell's crimes, or any Drew-related news. At Carly Spencer's place, she'll give Jack Brennan a chance to come clean. Brennan won't take the bait Carly offers, so she'll end up lashing out and will demand to know how he could keep her in the dark on Jocelyn Jacks. General Hospital spoilers say Carly will remain outraged over all the lies Brennan's told and the risky situations he's put Jocelyn in. So stay tuned for updates on the escalating drama. CDL will have other sizzling General Hospital spoilers, updates, and news to check out, so drop by regularly for more GH details. Welcome to the General Hospital Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. Good old ingrate Willow wasted no time ratting out her mother while her mother was in another room, practically perjuring herself some more to save her selfish brat of a daughter's hide once again. We were stunned when Willow just blurted out that Nina lied to give her an alibi, although we're not sure why. Apparently, we expected Willow to actually care just a tiny bit about the woman who gave her life and who was willing to go to jail for her. We must be as crazy as Willow. 'Cause Willow is up to something. That slight smile when she hugged Drew was the dead giveaway that Willow is playing the long game here. She is definitely hiding something about that night and is willing to use Drew because he knows Drew will believe every word she says, whether those words are true or not. Is the shoe on the other foot now, since Willow spent most of this year believing anything Drew said, whether they were true or not? It looks like Willow is only out for herself, and she doesn't care who goes down as long as she gets to see her children. And that's just further proof that she shouldn't see or raise those kids until she gets actual therapy, and not just some play sessions with her kids and a therapist. Willow doesn't care who she hurts, as long as she comes out on top. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full GH recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not. Seriously, do not. Forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is, if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. General Hospital spoilers reveal that we have to ask, is a Spencer Cassadine recast brewing? Trina Robinson's love life could pivot in a big way if Spencer comes back into the picture, so we should consider that possibility. After Spencer's presumed demise, Trina was absolutely devastated. It was tough for Trina to let go of Spencer, but she eventually moved on with Kai Taylor and tried to find happiness again. Of course, that plan hit a snag thanks to Kai's betrayal. But now Trina's got a different problem since she's tangled up in all this criminal chaos with him. Trina and Kai are on much better terms. But bonding again came at a cost since this Drew Kane situation has been a nightmare. Things may get worse for Kai and Trina before they get better, so that's something to keep in mind. We should also point out that according to the show's closing credits in the October 17th episode, Jens Austen Astrup is now off contract. That doesn't necessarily mean Astrup is leaving GH, but it does suggest Kai isn't an important enough character for a contract role anymore. This could open the door for a different contract player instead. one who could be quite crucial to Trina's path forward. At this point, there's no firm proof that Spencer is deceased. Even if there was evidence, it wouldn't be enough to dampen many fans' hopes of Spencer's return in some form. If Britt Westbourne and Nathan West can make miraculous comebacks, then Spencer can do the same. Spencer and Trina's love story feels unfinished since the writers always played them up like soulmates who were destined to be together. Trina just doesn't have the same powerful bond with Kai that she had with Spencer. Plenty of viewers are rooting for Trina and Spencer to get a brand new chapter together, so stick with us for updates on whether any recast news might be on the horizon. General Hospital spoilers say Trina has some major life developments ahead of her, so don't miss what's in store. If Jonathan Jackson were to take home the Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor, when the awards are handed out on October 17th, it would mark the General Hospital alum's 6th victory. After debuting as Lucky Spencer in 1993, he won his first 3 statuettes in the Outstanding Younger Actor category in 1995, 1998, and 1999. Returning to Port Charles from 2009 to 11, he scored another pair of wins, this time in the supporting category, 2011 and 2012. The actor, who learned of his latest nod shortly after wrapping up his 2024-25 reprisal of Lucky, reflected on his past wins and current nomination with Soap Opera Digest. Though Jackson was only 12 years old the first time he claimed gold, I definitely have a couple of vivid memories of that night. I remember being in the elevator, and a photographer was in the elevator as well, and he said something to me like, the word on the street, so to speak, was that I might win. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And then really, the other vivid memory is just walking up there after my name was called. When I walked on the stage and looked out, it was a very surreal experience that was kind of seared into my memory. And obviously, having Tony, Geary, ex-Luke, and Jeannie, Francis Laura, there made it very special. That he was called back to the podium not once but twice when he came back to the show after a decade was very special as well. I'd been gone for 10 years, and re-engaging with the character and just the whole lifestyle of that kind of work as an adult was really interesting for me. For me, the work that we do always feels very personal, and at that time, it was a lot of work with Tony that I was really proud of and grateful to do and be a part of. And also with Becky, Herbst, Elizabeth, and Tyler, Christopher, ex-Nicholas. That meant a lot to me, so winning was also amazing. This time around, Jackson had to navigate a submission process for Daytime Emmy consideration that had gone through quite the makeover since the last time he was eligible. It had pretty much been another decade since I'd gone through the process, he notes. It used to be that you picked 2 shows out of the whole year, and every scene you're in for those 2 shows becomes your Emmy reel. I assumed that was still the way it worked. And then I learned, no, you can do as many scenes as you want within a certain time frame that doesn't exceed 15 minutes in total length. So, it was a very different process to try to figure out. But it wasn't too difficult to really kind of have a sense of how to put it together. And I got input from my wife, Lisa Voltaggio, ex-Hannah, GH, and friends, and just made sure I wasn't doing anything stupid, laughs, and that I was picking decent stuff. It was a fun process because it was different. He included the scenes with Becky, when Elizabeth appeared kind of like an apparition to Lucky in prison, and then scenes with Jeannie in the hospital chapel, when Lucky was having to tell her that he's not a match for Lulu, who was in need of a liver donor. Just for me personally, getting to do those scenes with Jeannie meant so much to me because the last time I was on the show, she wasn't there. I was really excited to do a lot of work with Tony, but I also missed getting to work with her more as an adult, and having the characters be what they are now. There were some other moments, on the reel too, like the scenes with Aiden and Lucky having their reconciliation, and Lucky freaking out at Bobby's. I had a lot of different things to choose from. Jackson has a deep appreciation, at 43 years old, to possibly win a Daytime Emmy for playing a role he created at the tender age of 11. It means a lot, he smiles. I don't take anything for granted. When I come into any job, I sort of have an all-or-nothing mentality, so? Returning to GH with another decade of life outside of the show, working on other projects and music and writing, life in general, I think, informs your work as an actor, and that's something I always loved so much about Tony. He just seemed to kind of inhabit the mindset of an artist, and he's an incredible writer. Coming back all these years later, it's almost like I'm experiencing all of it for the first time again, and kind of rediscovering the process. I still feel in many ways like I'm trying to figure the whole thing out, and I try to give it my all and kind of shed not only some tears, but some blood in the process, and just kind of let it be what it is. I'm super grateful that that's recognized. The actor and his wife will be hitting the red carpet together, and he is looking forward to getting to see everybody and connecting with friends, and honoring the soap opera genre. Everybody works so ridiculously hard on all of these shows, and over the years, in some ways, I think it's just gotten harder and harder for various reasons. I was digging through some old GH scripts from the 90s and call sheets and things like that, and I couldn't believe there was like 23 scenes per day. Now, sometimes it's like 70, 80 scenes in a day. I thought, oh, that's why it feels so crazy, the pace of it. I'm just so amazed by what the writers and directors and actors and crew, the makeup and wardrobe people, everybody, the kind of work and effort everybody has to bring to get something on the air every day is amazing. So coming to a night like this, everyone gets to be together and kind of just celebrate the work that's done. Jackson marvels at the prospect of potentially winning a Daytime Emmy in 3 different decades. Each one over the span of 30 years always just gives me a feeling of gratitude to be able to work with the people that I work with, he muses. I mean, I met my wife on the show. I wouldn't have my kids, 22-year-old Caleb, 20-year-old Adora, and 15-year-old Titus, who as a baby played Aiden on GH. If it wasn't for GH, I just have so much to be grateful for. And when I'm at these kinds of events, or I contemplate General Hospital, it's like a lot of my life flashes before my eyes. It's a very surreal thing, especially because I've spent so much time away over the years. I've had 2 decade-long sabbaticals, so to speak. And that creates a sense of reflection and nostalgia. And if he does hear his name called for the 6th time, which would tie his win total with that of Heather Tom, Katie, bold and beautiful, and Erica Slezak, Ronnie, GH, ex-Vicky, One Life to Live. He'll be, mostly, ready to give a speech. I do like to be somewhat prepared mentally, he says. I've never really written anything down, but I do like to have something relatively prepared in my mind or heart in terms of what I might say. But then there's also a degree of it where I just leave it up to the moment as well. In the past, I've been grateful that I thought it through a little bit, because I wouldn't want to go up there and just completely go blank, because it is disorienting. Being 12 is one thing, but even when I won in 2011 or 2012, it was still disorienting. It's a lot to take in, and I'm not immune to any of that. General Hospital spoilers hint that, according to the Friday, October 17th, episode's closing credits for the show, actor Jens Austen Astrup, who plays Kai Taylor, is no longer under contract with the daytime drama. This may come as a shock to many GH fans, as Kai is not only dating a major character, Trina Robinson, but he's also quite involved in a massive storyline, Drew Kane's shooting. After Kai saw Drew's true colors, he felt terrible about betraying Trina and her parents, Curtis Ashford and Portia Robinson. He threw them under the bus and reported back to Drew about their plans to set up the congressman, so Kai wanted to undo that wrong by doing something right. As Kai had access to Drew's house, because he was interning for him, he and Trina broke in and stole the documents Drew was using to blackmail Portia. Unfortunately, the two were there when Drew got shot, twice, so if the PCPD ever found out, the two would be in deep doo-doo. With that said, hitting recurring status doesn't necessarily mean this is the end of the road for Kai and Jens on the ABC soap. In fact, many actors and actresses on GH and other soaps get dropped down to recurring status, only to go on to play a pivotal role in storylines. One only needs to look at Josh Kelly's Cody Bell role to see that this may not be the end of the world for Kai. Still, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is, Trina's romance with Kai is nothing overly special. Sure, they are cute together, but they don't have the magic that Trina shared with Spencer Cassadine, so perhaps Kai could be on the move to open a door for a new romantic interest for her. After all, Kai is an expendable character who hasn't exactly bonded with anyone else in PC other than Drew, Trina, and her family. General Hospital spoilers remind fans there's no information on why Astrup has been dropped to recurring status, so fans will need to stay tuned to this site, as this is still a developing story. General Hospital recap for Friday, October 17th, reveals that it was time for Drew Kane's false confession against Michael Corinthos as Willow Tate sought his help. While Dante Falconeri and Nathan West discussed Willow and Nina Reeves's arrest drama, Britt Westbourne sought a favor from Jason Morgan. Britt needed Jason to co-sign a car loan, so Jason was surprised over her wanting an impractical Mercedes. After some bickering and joking about Britt's donkey incident, Jason finally agreed to sign for Britt. In Carly Spencer's kitchen, she talked to Jocelyn Jacks about Dex Heller's demise and worried about how busy her daughter had been. Jocelyn acknowledged that she ran away from her problems, but she acted like that Easter Island trip was the best thing that ever happened to her. Carly kept trying to coax the truth out of Jocelyn by suggesting her daughter could tell her anything and hinting about the distance between them. There was some talk about Jack Brennan, as Jocelyn insisted she wanted Carly to be happy, even if Brennan wasn't her favorite person. Jocelyn also spoke about her desire to make a difference in the world, so Carly looked pained over this whole discussion since she knew more than Joss thought. Afterward, Jocelyn popped up at Bobby's, where Britt took a jab over the secret Joss was keeping from Carly. Although Jocelyn was grateful to Britt for saving her life, she made it clear that she was done with Britt's attitude and tossed threats around. Next on Friday's GH episode, Nina and Marco Rios met with ADA Justine Turner in her office. Although Nina initially tried to claim the footage was fake and that she'd truly been on a walk with Willow, ADA Turner knew that wasn't true. Marco wondered what was on the table for Nina if she recanted and helped build the case against Willow. Justine insisted Nina could plead down to a misdemeanor for the false statement, so she'd only get probation and a fine. After ADA Turner stepped out, Marco pushed Nina to take the deal, and once Nathan arrived, he backed Marco up. Lying wasn't going to help Willow now, and could land them both in prison for life, so Nina had a big decision to make. Justine eventually returned and asked if Nina had made one. In the interrogation room, Willow wanted to shift blame to the real shooter and prove she was framed, but Martin Gray was just focused on getting her bail at this arraignment. After Drew hobbled in on crutches, he blew off Harrison Chase's attempt to stop him from seeing Willow. Drew headed into the interrogation room, where Willow embraced him. Once Drew assured Willow that he knew she wasn't the shooter, she confessed that she had no alibi. Willow explained that after Nina claimed they were on a walk together, she went along with it and assumed her mom needed an alibi more than her. Martin made it clear that he couldn't represent both Drew and Willow. After the arraignment, Willow would need a new lawyer. Martin recommended that Willow get the best criminal defense attorney possible. Once Martin left to make arraignment preparations, Willow told Drew that Michael set her up and assumed that meant he was the shooter. Willow also asked if Drew was still willing to tell the cops he remembered Michael shooting him, so Drew smirked in response. Back with Chase, he complained to Dante and spelled out why Michael could have been behind a frame-up. Dante thought it seemed like Chase was trying to clear Willow instead of just solving the case. Chase pointed out that Dante was biased too when it came to his brother, so he didn't really have room to talk. At the Quartermaine mansion, Brooke Lynn Quartermaine seemed unsettled as Michael coldly talked about Willow and how everything worked out for the best. Later, Dante stopped by to speak with Michael in private. After Dante said he was there as Michael's brother and not a cop, he placed his badge on the counter. Dante then pushed Michael to convince him that he didn't frame Willow. In Brennan's office, he turned down Anna Devane when she arrived, hoping to team up. There was some talk about that Valentine Cassadine visit and Cesar Faison, since this Britt and Nathan situation seemed tied to him. Nevertheless, Brennan made it clear that he wasn't interested in offering up information or joining forces with Anna. Brennan eventually made his way to Carly's house, where he flashed a smile and asked if she missed him. General Hospital has a juicy new rumor that if it comes to fruition, we'll see some big breakups and shakeups for some couples, and some new couples may come out of it. we're going to talk about how this rumor ties into what is ahead for Dante Falconeri, Harrison Chase, and the recently resurrected Nathan West. So, this rumor comes from a reliable source, but I want to clarify this is a rumor, not a confirmed GH spoiler. So, it might or might not pan out. The starting point for this GH rumor is about Dante and Lulu Spencer's romantic future. I will say that not only does the person that leaked this have a good track record, but the info aligns with some things we're seeing moving into place on the General Hospital canvas, especially with the stuff going on since N. Especially with the Ethan's return and with the Drew Kane Quartermain's shooting case. This rumor starts with Lulu Spencer, who is back on the GH character canvas after 4 years in a coma. While she was sleeping, Dante fell in love with Sam McCall, who then died after donating part of her liver to save Lulu's life. Of course, it wasn't her fault. That was the work of horrible Cyrus Renaud. There's a ton of Lantifani fans out there who have been rooting and waiting for a Dante and Lulu reunion ever since she woke up. But the source of the rumor says General Hospital is not planning to reunite Lulu and Dante, at least not anytime soon. I know this is a big disappointment to all those Lulu and Dante shippers, and there's a chance the writers will change their minds. But for now, the rumor is that they are planning to pair Lulu and Dante with other people. Both pairings are surprising. Working off the premise that Lulu and Dante are not getting back together will cause some ripple effects. Based on the vibes we're seeing between them on the show, I am not feeling any sort of Lulu and Dante romantic vibes, or them getting closer, or chemistry, or attraction. I see co-parenting, friendship, a little bit of attitude, but nothing that indicates them getting together. Brooklyn, Quartermain, and Chase may be headed for a split. I can honestly already see the groundwork being laid. And yes, I know Chase and Brooklyn seem very solid, but there are things chipping away and eroding at the foundation of their marriage. First, Chase is not very happy that Brooklyn put off adopting a baby because of the Gio Palmieri drama. He was so upset he couldn't father a child, and they were going to adopt. Then he finds out his best friend actually has a child with his wife, but she's not willing to move forward with the adoption because she wants to work things out with Gio. Plus, we have Chase very busy as Willow Tate's biggest defender. Chase does not approve of the way Michael Corinthos is treating Willow, and it's pretty clear Chase 100% believes Willow has been framed. I'm guessing Brooklyn is going to take Michael's side on that. That could put a whole lot of stress on their marriage. At the same time, Brooklyn and Dante keep getting thrown together because of their son. And if Gio moves back to the Q mansion after Ronnie invited him to, we could see lots more of those two bonding, and maybe even all three of them bonding. Chase also confided in Willow a while back how eager he was to adopt and how upset he was that BLQ delayed the plan. And Chase wants to be a dad, and he could find fulfillment playing stepdad to Willow's kids if they wound up together. Chase would be a much better stepdad than Drew. It sure feels like GH is laying down groundwork for some couple shifts. Both of these couples have been together before. Chase and Willow were very close at one point. They have a lot in common and a very similar temperament. For Dante and Brooklyn, they've not been together since they were teens, but I think that chemistry is still there. If the two of them start to bond with Gio as a family, that could bring Dante and BLQ a lot closer. Chase might not even notice his wife slipping away, because he is hyper-focused on proving Willow's innocence. But if they do put Dante with Brooklyn, the question becomes, what happens with Lulu? Now, I will say the rumor only said that Dante and Lulu isn't happening. The other two pairings are speculation on where things may be heading, based on the current storylines, the writing, and how we see characters vibing together. If you remember who found Nathan after the vehicle he was in crashed and he was taken off to General Hospital, that was Lulu who found him. If you recall, though, she didn't even see Nathan's face because of the airbag and everything. We had Lulu spotting the crash on the side of the road, calling 911, and she got questioned while he got carted off. She never saw him. I do think pretty soon we're going to see Nathan thanking Lulu for finding him and calling for help. They'll want to do some catching up since her ex-husband Dante is Nathan's best friend. We could see Lulu and Nathan having a little vibe. You'd think Maxie Jones would be who Nathan wants to be with, but the thing is, I don't really think that's Nathan. And Maxie isn't back for a few more months, early 2026, possibly February sweeps. In case you haven't heard, Kirsten Storms has another medical issue right now. When we first reported, we leaked before the formal announcement that she was going to be out for many months. As Maxie, I mentioned that the cause was twofold. First, Kirsten was taking a break because she relocated to Nashville, but also because of something personal and medical. If you remember, the Maxie actress had a large cyst on the back of her brain that she had to have removed. She had brain surgery, had to have part of her head shaved, and all that. And now she's got other stuff going on in her head. She's got an aneurysm, which sounds terribly scary. So Kirsten is about to have a procedure done to prevent it from rupturing, a procedure called endovascular coiling, where they fill in the aneurysm with tiny coils so it can't rupture. We hope everything goes well with Kirsten's procedure, and then she's got to recover, and then she'll be back to the soap. So there's plenty of time for Nathan to get involved with Lulu, and then change course once Maxie's back. But don't forget she's with Damian Spinelli now, and she may stick with him. Also, I don't feel like that's Nathan in that skin suit, at least not most of the time. I suspect it might be Peter August based on recent dialogue. All that being said, Peter also had a thing for Maxie. Based on what we're seeing on General Hospital right now, I strongly doubt Nathan is in charge of his own brain or body. Lots of fans want Maxie and Nathan back together, but that is going to be a while coming. A, because she's in a coma, and B, because there's more to this story. If they don't eventually do a Maxie and Nathan reunion, I think fans are going to lose their freaking minds. Plus, since Lulu is Maxie's best friend, it would be sketchy if Lulu wound up with Nathan even for a while. But if that's not really Nathan, he might romance Lulu specifically to hurt Maxie, because the same people that brought Nathan back also intentionally put Maxie into a coma. Nothing is out of bounds at this point. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you!